SI has just put out a new teaser of what the match looks like when you're playing as a player. It looks legitimately amazing. However, it's one thing to make the game look good. It's another thing for it to be a fun game. The things that we talked about in the video I did recently here that talks about transfers and all the other aspects of the game that lead to the match. Obviously, they've not revealed that yet. But the fact that this looks so good gives me a little bit of hope that FM26 will actually be epic. Let's take a look. Now, at the start of the video, I've got it paused here 3 seconds in. It says redefine storytelling, which I think is a very interesting way to position this, because it then goes on to show you what the matches look like. And I just wonder, what does this part mean? Why are we talking about redefined storytelling? Are we redefining anything, or are we just showing something differently? I'm curious what that might mean. But as we move through this, and I'll pause it as we go throughout it, the first thing you see here is this looks like a non-generic stadium. I will say I think the fans still look a little generic, but if you're going to focus on stuff, I want the pitch and the players, and I like that, like, this is a unique stadium. Somebody in the comments can probably tell you where it's from, not me, but they're unique, and it moves awful fast here. If we go back here, okay, this looks like Bournemouth, right? So the Cherries and their smaller stadium, I think it's like 10,000 seat or something like that, playing what looks to be Brighton. But in the next screen that they jump to, you can see that it's different. There is a city skyline. And I said in my recent video, which I'll put up here, that I was hoping that it would not be generic 2D trees and they all look generally the same, you know, small stadium, medium stadium, big stadium. This looks somewhat unique. Now, maybe you could place where this is at. This looks to be Liverpool playing somebody in blue. I'm not sure who, but you get the idea. Likewise, this stadium has the unique, you know, coverings. That looks to be Everton playing Aston Villa. And, you know, this is Crystal Palace playing Nottingham Forest. Again, you've got like the light stand in the bottom left corner there. But this is our first look here on this screen of what like your experience as a player is going to look like. Obviously, this is choosing like the tactical view that you've got in FM24. It's interesting they've shrunk down the bar at the bottom, which obviously has the thing on the bottom left here, so you could expand this. So I wonder if they've just removed the photos to make it more streamlined so you can see better. And then the top left is tactics, instructions, and positives. So similar to what you had in the past, just like moving where it goes. Interesting thing that I saw a comment on Twitter on, I can't remember who it was, I apologize if it was you. The score bug, which I didn't know was a thing, is not centered. Well, you might argue it's centered from like the clock over to 4, but like this to me just looks wrong. I don't know how it is, how TV broadcasts handle score bugs and putting the score up in other parts of the world. In the US, we put ours in the top left, and the fact that like the lion of the Premier League is not centered, I think is going to take some getting adjusting to or getting used to. So maybe this is just, again, this is like first look, and maybe they'll adjust it. But you know, when you look at this, you go, oh, this, you know, because this is super high up, this looks like everything else that we've seen with FM24, slightly different. But I do like that this looks to be unique stadium environments. Again, it moves fast, so I'm going to try and pause it to catch some of the other things here. This looks legitimately great. I'm not saying this looks like EAFC, but it's a giant step forward, and I'll take us back just a second here so you can see it more smoothly. And obviously, there'll be a link in the description. So you can go, it's on footballmanager.com. Deeper immersion, okay? Nice curl on the ball. The ball has a shadow. I got so excited there, I started coughing. So we'll go back just a little bit. But again, showing off like the shadows, which you would presume change based on the time of day that the match is being played. It looks very fluid, which is why it says fluid football. You see what I did there? Ball comes in. I love this. I wonder like how often that exact moment is going to happen. Like leaving the header down, chesting it down, and getting a shot on target. But overall, when you look at it, you go, this looks much, much, much more like what you would see on a TV if you were watching a legitimate game. Ball swings into the corner there. I mean, it looks fantastic. So, like, from a visual standpoint, clearly a win. Let's go back to pause to that screen, just so you can kind of get a look at the different things. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is a different angle. It looks like the tactical cam, but zoomed in, which I think is kind of interesting. But overall, when you look at this, you go, this looks good. Change the script, change the story. Maybe they're just talking about set pieces. I'm not sure. But I think it's interesting that they're calling out, again, redefined storytelling at the beginning. I just think there's like, they're hinting at something else. I don't think redefining storytelling is based on the graphics engine, but it could be wrong. You know, it's one of those things. Again, I think the crowd looks fine-ish, but again, you're not going to necessarily focus on that as much, but it is part of the atmosphere. So, you know, obviously they're wearing the appropriate colors based off of who's playing on the pitch. But when you just look at this, again, I don't have expectations that we're going to get EAFC anytime soon, but it is a dramatic difference compared to FM24. I think this image is what kind of shows it off the best. You've got a double-decker stadium. You've got legitimate, interesting views above the stadium. It looks like where this is supposed to be. So that is a massive improvement. You've got the players coming out. You know, the only thing they're missing is like the mascots, right? Where are the kids? But I'm assuming it's like, let's just not worry about that. But I like that. Like, this is what you would see. And it is a lot more smooth as we kind of scroll through. Again, they are only going to show us the parts that work really well and that they've like polished and polished and polished. That's my opinion. But it does look like a very unique view and unique way of presenting the game. Now, what will be interesting again is like, how does that then impact other aspects of the game in terms of what have they done with the squad screens and the tactics screens and all that kind of stuff. But this right here, like, genuinely impressed. Chest sit down. The only thing it'd be better if it would go in, but it looks like Manchester United, so maybe that's just, you know, a nod to how they're currently playing. So overall, I am impressed. Just from the view, there's got to be lots of other changes behind the scenes, but this is a giant step forward, at least how it's presented to us as players visually. No showing of the 2D models, you know, the 2D tactical view of playing the game. So we'll see if that's still included. I would imagine they have to include that because otherwise there's a small but very passionate subset of the player base that I think would be very upset about that. But overall, looks like a great step forward for FM26, and we'll have to see. Again, it's one thing for the game to look good, but if the tactics system is broken and transfers are still broken and scouting is weird and all that kind of stuff, then it won't matter as much. But if you're seeing this level of improvement in the graphics engine, hopefully that means that all those other things have also been addressed as well. What are your thoughts on this? Leave a comment below, and we'll be here next time FM puts out another video. Have a good one.